If you've got a job right now and you can live with it, do your best to stick with your job. Back in the early 90s, I was working in sales for the Auto Trader. It was a good job. It was before digital cameras. I would drive around and I'd take photographs of cars at small car lots and people's houses, and covered half of Edmonton. It was a lot of fun, and I earned a decent living, and I learned a lot about marketing, and I really enjoyed that time. And then I persuaded myself, you know what, I've got all of these skills. I had a good business idea. I thought this is going to be the thing for me and I need to focus on this. And I quit my job. And as I was driving home that day, I was listening to CBC radio and an economist came on who was being interviewed and said, whatever you do, don't quit your job right now because we're going into a recession. I was like, oh shit. And I spent a year basically unemployed. Now, you know, I'm a wily guy and I was always able to get by. I was young and had skills that I had developed, and I was a hard worker. But it forced me to recognize that I didn't have the self-discipline I needed to accomplish the things that I did. So I taught myself self-discipline, and so there was value to that. But it was also miserable to be unemployed and have to face that humiliation of not feeling that I could find employment at the time. And a lot of people went through it. It was just a dismal time, and that economist was absolutely correct. Now, where are we at this point in time? Last month, Canada added a bunch of jobs, I think something like 60,000 jobs. That was great. The U.S. doesn't report those things anymore because Trump doesn't want you to know the bad news, but it looks like there's something like 65,000 jobs lost in the U.S., huge layoffs at major corporations, and it's just getting started, like it's just starting there. Keep in mind, they have 240 million people. We have 40 million people. So that loss is significant for them. That increase for us is really surprising at this point in time. But it doesn't mean it's not coming. Like, it's coming. The 40% of U.S. GDP growth right now, I just heard on the radio, was from AI. We've got the collapse of tourism in many areas. You've got the instability created by tariffs, which seem to change every week, and companies have basically blown their wad to try and buy product to have it there pre-tariff coming in, and now they're at the point where, like, okay, we're in the same situation as everybody else. You know, what do we do? Do we try and buy now because there's going to be more tariffs next week, or do we hang on in the hopes that the court strikes down the or finds that the tariffs imposed by Trump are illegal? And then you've got the instability created by, like, social upheaval of picking up people who are established in the U.S., have basically had a latent invite to come in and work with their families, and picking up people, arresting them in the night, just very, SSE, and hauling them away. All of those things create huge instability. I mean, tourism is just really rough. If you look at Las Vegas right now, it's Las Vegas is done. Like, it's done. It's the new Catskills. It's going to not exist in the future because people have discovered that they'd much rather travel to Japan than go to Las Vegas, and for very good reason. So we are going to see. We're going to start feeling it. I mean, we already see it. If you're paying close attention, we already see it. And there's an economic collapse underway. And these things tend to snowball. And it gets to the point where, you know, there's a bottom because everybody's got to eat and people are still, like, trying to go through their lives, and cars still fall apart and have to be replaced. But people are holding on to their wallets. And if you want a sort of the first line thing to recognize that this is happening, look at restaurants. Restaurants are really struggling right now, and we're going to watch over the next couple of years a lot of restaurant equipment and things like that going through auctions, because unfortunately those are failed dreams often for many people. They look at it, they say, I can run a restaurant. They maybe have all of those skills, but it's a hugely competitive market with very tight margins, and when things go even slightly awry, those restaurants fail. Very sad for those people, because usually they're putting in 16 hours a day, the people who own them. But back to your job. Okay, so you've got a job right now. It's not the greatest job. You're not overly happy with it, but it does pay the bills. And barely, maybe, but it does pay the bills. And so you're looking at it right now and you're thinking to yourself, I hate this job. I would say if you can, try and address your opinions to it and do your best to do your best at work and try and keep that job right now, because you want to be the valuable employee who is not laid off in this round, because you don't want to be in a situation where and you may be the most valuable employee and still end up laid off, but if you can avoid it, you may be in a situation where you're trying to find work and you're competing with, as we see in the States right now, thousands of other people. And when the recession really starts to hit people, and it's hitting people in many areas of the US, and we've had lots of areas in Canada that have been, hovering on the verge of negative GDP growth for some time. But when it really starts to hit, it snowballs and it gets deeper. And in Canada, we tend to suffer it longer. The recoveries usually take longer. And this has been my experience and observation. So back to my original point, if you've got a job right now and it's a job you can live with, unless you've got a really solid plan, do your best to stick with that job, because the job you've got right now is the bird in the hand. And the two in the bush are probably not even in the bush, and good luck trying to catch them when you're in a situation where you're competing with so many others for the maybe job that might exist out there that you think is better. It's a cautionary note. It's not a happy note. And I know I said in a previous video that there's lots of opportunity. I see tons and tons of opportunity. And I'm not just telling people to open a cooperage, but there's also the situation of stability when you've got a job, and it's something that is personal decisions you have to make. But I can tell you, after my 1 year of unemployment in my early 20s, I was burned, and I learned from that burn. And I'd rather you learn from me telling you about it than having to suffer that.